So no one's talking about like regenerative farming. No one's talking about like anything positive, right? Everyone's just lost their minds from what I could tell. So you know what I mean is I've grown my own food in my backyard in Westlake. Plant some seeds and see how much food you really need. And then you realize you're a truckitarian, that all your food is based upon trucks. Like, even if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, like, yeah, that stuff's coming in on trucks. So what are we really about? And I think we've really got to go back to a 1920s mentality of like the seasons and these skills we do in our house, canning and growing our own fruits and vegetables.
I remember those good old days.
Freedom gardens and the whole thing. And you know, until we get to cherish our children again. Like, I think I'm lucky to have had a child later in life. I had my child at 45, right? I did all the dirty work.
How old are you now?
I'm 52.
Really?
Yeah.
White don't crack.
What's that?
White don't crack.
No. White smoke crack. But it's this thing of like, everything's for my son to have a better future, and putting him in, like when I knew I was having a kid, I knew that I was never going to put him in indoctrination centers. I was never going to participate in big pharma. I wasn't going to participate in big agriculture with him. Like, I've structured my life. So when this time arose that is 2021, like I left the plantation a long time ago and it's all about my son. Like I have to think like that. I have to think about my children's children and be like, this isn't about me. So yeah, it's time to reinvent the wheel and get some skills going.
And you married a woman who already had a child, so you became a step parent. Mm-hmm. Was it difficult being a step parent?
Intense.
In what way?
I mean, me and my stepdaughter love each other. Like, it's an intense dynamic.
She's like 16 now?
She's 16. It's an intense dynamic. Absolutely. Like, it's hard.
Yeah. Do you regret doing that?
No.
Marrying a woman that already have a child?
No, not at all. Like,
because stepchildren don't want step parents. They want their own parents, or they don't want another person come between them and their parents.
There's a level of that, but I think ultimately, like, this is the way I see it, is me and my wife, we've known each other a long time. When I was sitting at the dinner table with my wife and my stepdaughter when we were first living together, and I realized it wasn't about her, it was about my stepdaughter. And it was up to her to make the decision. Like, she was either gonna like let it happen or it wasn't gonna happen. Like, she's the one who picked me, and I picked, like, on a cosmic metaphysical level, like, we have a totally different journey. And yeah, you could get into all you shouldn't have, but then again, I wouldn't have my son and she wouldn't have her brother, and like, it's not for me to choose.
Amazing.
Like, it's God's path for me.
Did you have to make any changes in your life to be married, have a family? You know how you say you gave it all up to be free, to kind of start doing what you're doing, be a tree hugger and all that. You went all in. Did you have to make any changes to become a settled man, to settle down like that?
Yeah, I had to become a man. Like, I had to become a man. Like, I think men have left the stage. Like, because I had to honor those words I took before God, for better or for worse. And we've had our worse, let me tell you. And that's when it all counted. It wasn't when it was all like puppy dogs and rainbows. Yeah. It's when it all falls apart and it's a disaster. Can you stand in your honor as a man and work through it? Because you have, once I had a child, like, it's game over for my own little, like, I don't like this. I have to show up and be a man.
Speaking of that, I read that you lived in Malibu at one time, Malibu, and then they had that fire up there.
Sure.
And your home burned down.
Yep.
And then after a while, your wife left you, right?
Yes, we were separated. Yep.
What were those times like for you? And how did you endure them?
It was super difficult. So there was a moment right after the fire. I had nothing except my truck. My wife, she was out. I was standing there with my little boy, holding his hands. And I was like, all right, God, like, what are we doing now? And God's like, are you ready? And I will give this advice to anyone. I didn't make it about her.
Yeah.
I spent that time working on me. I go, where have I failed this situation? And I spent the period doing the work on myself to be a father. My primary purpose was to raise my son, not do anything else. And at some point about 5 months into it, like, I discovered what forgiveness was. Like true forgiveness, not this word that's bandied about because, someone stole my candy bar.
Yeah.
Like true, deep, metaphysical, loving forgiveness. And it was like the minute that happened, the universe like cracked open wide. And that's when I understood what the vows were, for better or for worse. And that it's been a blessing. Like it truly was the best thing that could have ever happened to our family in a weird way.
Really?
Yeah, because it was time to show up.
And what is true forgiveness? Are you able to explain it or describe it?
I would say that it's sort of like the amends process in sobriety. The first person I had to forgive was me. Like I was the one who was culpable in what was the problem that led to this splitting of our relationship. And the minute I was realized that I was responsible on a huge level, like at least half, bare minimum, if not way more, and I began to do the work on myself and go, what is it about me that is this and this, that? And I was like, oh, wow, like there's my other person there. She's as equal in the thing to me too, but it was like the forgiveness I hope to receive, I must give, right? So if God forgave me, a lunatic, drug addict, alcohol failure, and gave me a second chance of life, I have to at least try to emulate that to my wife and my children's mother and do the work and go, okay, what am I going to do about this? And how am I going to heal myself to be a better man? And then that's when it all.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How long were you guys separated?
Well, practically like 6 months. I mean, spiritually, probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like it didn't just show up out of the blue.
And so you had to endure pain in order to overcome all that?
Oh, yeah. Like immense pain.
Are you able to describe a little bit of the pain of that, or do you remember?
The pain was like a deep sorrow at failing. I mean, I was sitting in this thing, my whole community was burned down. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at my little boy, feeding him food, and I was like, how did I end up here? And how have I failed this human being that picked me to be a steward, that came down here from God to show me the path? What have I done? What have I done? It was the worst pain imaginable. I mean, I don't want to imagine there's more pain, but
So with the pain of the mind or of the body or both?
All of it. The heart, body, mind, all of it,
Most people don't know that they have to endure that pain. When that pain comes, they go and take antidepressant medication, or they get drunk, or they do something to run from that pain. They don't know that they have to endure that pain in order to overcome.
Oh man, it was a lot. It was sitting in it. Like that's the greatest gift sobriety's ever given me, is the ability to sit in the pain and know that eventually, if I do the work, if I show up for myself, because God already showed up for me, right? If I just show up for myself, God's already there for me, and it will get better.
I've had that pain over the years of waking up. I've had that pain so bad I could barely function. I remember there were days, I lived in Oregon at the time, and I remember there were days when I would leave work, I was thinking, this is it. I'm not going back. It's crazy. And so I would get home and I would just fall out on the couch. I couldn't move. And I would just say, you know what, God, you allowing this to happen. I don't know what to do about it, so let your will be done. And I would just lay there all evening. And I found myself getting up the next morning, going to work. And then after a while, that pain was gone, and I grew in ways that I never imagined.
That's what I mean. It's been a gift. I mean,
it sure is.
I had to wake up because my son was like, I had to show up and be a dad. Like I had a friend who had a similar experience that chose a different path, and
Yeah.
it's just a disaster.
Yeah.
Because he would come over and be like, let's go out and hang out with some girls. I'd be like, no, dude, I'm a dad.
Yeah.
Like, my priority's not that, it's this. And whatever that is, like, I'm on this journey to heal this rift. Because one of the things I say a lot in my videos is the revolution's at the dinner table. If you can't heal your own family, how are you going to heal a country? If you can't bring the rift in your family together, how are you going to get the rift in Sacramento or Washington or anywhere on this planet?
That is so true, man.
It starts here,
Yeah.
and it starts with our people, and then it moves out. You know?
How do you describe God? How do you see him personally?
The ultimate loving abundance, like limitless love and abundance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Isn't it like amazing?
It's amazing. I marvel at it constantly.
I know, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It really is mind-blowing.
Beyond my comprehension.
And there are no words to really express the depths of how mind-blowing it is. I find myself limited with words to express what it is to live from the light.
I felt it like last night. I felt what it was like. I was at this thing and I could feel the tears of the energy, like just the beauty of it all. I was at this homeschooler meeting last night that was beyond powerful. And I was like, wow, like there's 600 parents here figuring out how to pull their children from public schools.
Right.
And I was sitting there with my boy, and I was like, whoa, we are leaving, aren't we? Like we are literally like leaving this system behind. And I was like in a church with all these parents, and I was like, this is so beautiful, and this is so loving, and these people are all here for their children.
Yeah.
And that was like, there was just this deep, like even right now, it's just very powerful, like how deep the love goes.
Amazing. Is your wife on board with you now, or is she like coming along but kicking and screaming?
No, she's on board, but as you know, women have a very different time code, right? For her, she was always sort of like, yeah, okay. And then it took literally like about 6 weeks ago, she walked in the house and it's like, okay, we can go now. Like, cause she grew up on the west side of LA and that whole world. And she was like, this whole thing been a journey, but she eventually was like, I see it now. Like, we need to go.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, wow, like we can finally get out of here. Cause I was ready to leave back in June of the other year when I saw what was going on with the riots.
Yeah.
You know, because I went and infiltrated like Black Bloc and filmed from all this stuff. So I was like pretty hands-on last
Nice.
year.